Today we're looking to separate fact from fiction surrounding the coronavirus epidemic that is currently spreading the globe. What exactly is coronavirus? Does it come from drinking too much Corona? Surprisingly, you do not get coronavirus from drinking Corona. It actually refers to a family of virus that is responsible for about 1/3 of what we know as the common cold. Coronavirus is around us all the time in most situations and is zoonotic, which means it is easily transmittable between humans and animals. The coronavirus that we see today is a strain of coronavirus. That's why it's referred to as COVID-19, because this particular strain showed up in 2019. The coronavirus circling the globe today, COVID-19, is actually responsible for a relatively low mortality rate. So why all the hype? And what can you and I do to prevent contracting it? As COVID-19 is the virus usually responsible for the common cold, the symptoms are very similar to that of the common cold. Shortness of breath, mucus, headache, cough, stuffiness, muscle pain, and a fever. And usually in most cases, it only affects the elderly. It does lead to pneumonia and is actually a form of pneumonia, and that is when it becomes fatal. To date, we've seen approximately 114,000 cases of COVID virus and 4,000 fatalities. Comparatively speaking, each year, the influenza virus infects 3 to 5 million people with a fatality rate anywhere from 290,000 to 600,000. 6 times greater than what we've seen with COVID-19. So, why all the panic? And very interestingly, why have the biggest infections shown up in countries the US is at war with? Maybe it's just a coincidence. But in these cases, I don't generally follow coincidences. These areas, specifically China, Iran, and Korea, are also the areas where it seems to be the most potent and is doing the highest mortality. Then we see Chen Qiushi. He was a journalist, or should I say is a journalist, in China, who thought very highly of his job as a journalist and understood the importance of proper reporting. So he traveled to the danger zone into the heart of Wuhan right before the trains were shut down. Upon arriving in Wuhan, Chen released some amazing video and demonstrated his amazing journalistic skills. However, was reporting against the Chinese government, and that rarely bodes well for Chinese citizens. Apparently, he was since taken into custody and placed on quarantine, we are told. However, he wasn't sick, despite being in the quarantine zone. Prior to being detained, Chen live streamed some really amazing footage from Ground Zero that leads us to believe that possibly the death toll may have been quite a bit higher than what the Chinese government has actually reported. We continue to pray that Chen is safe and sound in quarantine somewhere and can't access a VPN or is unable to contact anyone in the outside world. Hopefully this is the case, and only time will tell. While coronavirus wasn't derived from drinking too much Corona beer, or any other beer for that matter, the story we're given is that it was derived from a snake at a seafood market in China, Wuhan to be specific. Well, that seems possible and may even be likely. I somehow doubt it and am unconvinced. Though, I don't recommend making out with pigs, or any other farm animals for that matter. But I don't believe dogs wearing face masks is quite necessary yet. While the world waits for the pandemic that will bring end times, I don't think this is it. The death tolls will come, and we may even see 4 and 5%. But this is a far cry from the bubonic plague or any major pandemics of the past. Interestingly, this strain of coronavirus is the same that had brought us the Spanish flu in the early 1900s. The Spanish flu infected up to 500 million people and killed anywhere from 20 to 50 million. I don't think we're going to see that kind of death rate here, thank God. And while this pandemic sweeping the globe may not be the zombie apocalypse, it still is a deadly and menacing pandemic. So it's best to keep your family safe and use ordinary precautions. Wash your hands, brush your teeth, wash your face. Don't sneeze in people's faces. All these things seem like common sense, but unfortunately, common sense isn't very common anymore. So we take measures like quarantining people and locking them away so they can't sneeze in people's faces. Well, we pray that this virus ends swiftly. I imagine in the very near future we will see vaccines produced at the price of billions of dollars to stop the common cold, which, while it can be deadly and causing pneumonia in many cases, is far from the virus to cause the zombie apocalypse.